About to get so techie up in here. This is my jam. Okay, you'll have to bear with me. I do still have a cold and it seems to flare up when I talk. So let's hope we can make it through this together and make the most of explaining my lovely chart here. I wanted to give you visual examples again. The more I tried to think of how I would do this on PicMonkey, the more I was like, no, I need a flip chart. So I literally went to Office Depot, got myself a flip chart, and I'm feeling very Brendan Burchard right now. I've got my own little flip chart here with me. So, all right, if you are excited to learn how to capitalize on this plan, give me some hearts, give me some thumbs ups. Are you ready for this? Okay, you gotta like bear with me because it does tend to confuse people only because it's new, right? It's like a new way of looking at things. But I promise you, this could be the thing that completely changes your life. It can be the thing that makes you hundreds and thousands of dollars more in the Beachbody compensation plan. It is 100% the reason why I've been able to become the top earner in the company for, I think, the last 4 or 5 years. And that is because I learned to maximize placement in my business. Now, I'm gonna start with a spouse's account, and that can be anyone from a spouse to, if you have a parent that drinks Shakeology, if you have a kid that's old enough, brother or sister, like it doesn't have to be necessarily a spouse. However, that person needs to, 1, know that they're a coach, 2, have some sort of interest in using our products to keep active, right? But for me, I signed up my brother and my husband my very first day as a coach because I knew the importance of Emerald. I knew that the compensation plan would unlock for me as soon as I became an Emerald because I'd be able to start to store up the team bonuses or the team volume that was created. Now at the time, I didn't have a lot of team volume. I've told you guys this, I didn't have an upline that was putting anybody below me. In fact, in 9 years, I've never had a coach placed below me from my upline. So I'm gonna go over an even leg situation, whether that's you've just never had a upline place underneath you, or maybe you've built up to the point where you're kind of even on both sides volume wise. You don't have a lot of carryover left over. So I'm gonna go over all situations. I'm gonna go over somebody that has a strong leg. I'm gonna go over somebody that has even legs. I'm gonna go over if you don't understand what the heck that is, okay? So let's get started because this is going to be a little bit of an adventure together. All right, I'm gonna spit this gum out. I just wanted to moisturize my throat. Okay, so last week I showed you the image of what it looked like to be a strong diamond. And just to kind of recap on what that means, I basically meant that you'd have a total of 6 active coaches on each side instead of the 4 that we need to become diamonds, right? We need 4 on each side to become diamond. For a strong diamond, I feel like having 6 on each side is a really good way to ensure that if some of those go inactive because they cancel their Shakeology order, they put it on hold or whatever, that you have some security in place to know you're not just gonna fall in week out. The other thing that I talked about with a strong diamond was that you either needed to have an Emerald that had, like I have over here, 4 active coaches of their own, 2 on each side, or you had 2 Emeralds that had 2 people each, 1 on each side, to secure the fact that your Emeralds are gonna stay in place, because that tends to be the harder part. Is it's a little bit out of your control, right, with other people signing up coaches, unless it's a spouse. So that is a strong diamond. Really quick, I'm gonna go over a little key that I made and the colors that I'm using so that you can understand. I don't have to keep explaining. So red, any red dots that you're gonna see are gonna be either your upline, who's always up here, or coaches that are placed below you from your upline. So for those of you who do have the blessing of having like a stronger leg, you have people being placed underneath you, those are your coaches, or your sponsors' coaches, your upline's coaches, or people that signed up before you that are in your line, signing up coaches. They're not your responsibility, but you do benefit from their volume. So they're gonna be in red. Orange is you, green is Emerald, blue is active, personally sponsored coaches of yours, and then the pink is coaches of your coaches. So for instance, your Emerald, you'll see the pinks. That's because those are their personally sponsored coaches, okay? So that's a solid business, solid diamond business. This is the key. we're gonna move forward to talking about spouse accounts, or accounts of anyone that you kind of have control over and can earn income off of. So a spouse account on a weak leg, what does that mean? If you went and you saw my little thing that I posted an hour ago, it said to check your carryover volume, to check if you have any carryover from previous weeks if you're an emerald above, which you guys are all diamonds, so you'll have that. If on either leg, left or right, it has carryover, that means you have some sort of strong leg. Now it's gonna vary depending on the coach, how long you've been in, where your placement is, all that stuff. Some of you have insane carryover. Like on one leg, you have 34, we had somebody post, they had 34,000 on one side. And then, you know, like I think 30 carryover on the other, right? Because let's say their left was the one with 34, that would be their strong side. And then the opposite side with 30 left over, that's their weak side. Just means that there's less volume on one side versus the other. So I'm gonna cover with this one why somebody would choose to place a spouse on their weak leg and what the advantages might be if you were to do that. So if you have a strong leg, which like I said, red is coaches placed below you from someone in your upline, someone above you. That means this person on this example has 3,000 in volume on this leg and only 300 on this leg. I went ahead and put their spouse as the emerald underneath them. So they have one active coach over here, and then because we all only have 2 legs, so here's your 2 legs, here's your spouse's 2 legs. We all only have 2 legs. So when you went to place your spouse's second personally sponsored coach, you already had signed these 2 coaches, so you had to place that coach for that left-hand side underneath those 2 coaches you had. Does that make sense? So this is your coach, your spouse becoming an emerald coach, having 2 personally sponsored coaches. The benefit of placing a spouse underneath your weak leg is that, one, if you're a strong volume producer, let's say you're someone who gets decent Success Club point numbers, let's say you're hitting Success Club 10 pretty consistently, and you also have, you know, sometimes you hit 15, 20. Having a spouse on your weak leg, you can actually decide to place customer orders underneath their account instead of your own after you've hit Success Club 5 or Success Club 10, so that you not only earn the 25% commission, but you also earn the volume from that order. So let's say it's a Shakeology order worth 90 PV. That goes underneath your spouse's account. They get the $32 commission, which if you're, you know, married, you guys get that together. So the $32 commission goes under their account, the 90 PV goes under this leg. You're almost at a whole nother team bonus cycle. So as a diamond coach, that means an extra $18. So instead of just getting the $32, now you're getting close to $50 from that one sale. So it's upping your percentage on what you're earning off of one customer sale. So for me in the beginning, I'm someone who had even legs, but as I started to build up my spouse and I placed my extra orders underneath his account, I went from earning a 25% commission to more like a 35 to 40% commission off every order. And if I'm a strong retailer, which I was, I could exponentially change my paycheck by being able to place orders underneath him. I always made sure I've never missed a month of Success Club 10. For me personally, I felt like, one, I wanted to set the pace for my team. 2, Shakeology customer leads, I feel, especially because they're Shakeology leads and their income you get right out the gates, it's worth hitting Success Club 10 to make sure that I'm getting those leads and that I'm leading my team by example. So I've always gunned for Success Club 10 and making sure that I'm maximizing that, and then anything extra, placing it underneath my spouse's account. The next benefit to placing on the weak leg is you can build this person, your spouse, to diamond inevitably. And we're gonna talk a lot about second business centers and the difference that it makes in this little live here. But getting there as quickly as possible is really key. And to be able to have control of one of those diamonds is also really key. And as you build them to diamond, as you're maybe giving them discount coaches or people that are gonna do hobby coaches, you're giving those coaches away as personally sponsored coaches to your spouse. However, all the volume that any of them create, because they're under your weak leg, all equals team bonus cycles for you. And you've got this other side built because you have a strong leg in this example. And so therefore, as this starts to build, let's say you build them up to diamond, now you're at 1,000 a week, divide that by 100, you're getting 10 team bonus cycles instead of the 3, and now you're at 180 in team bonus cycles versus just like 36 bucks. So as you build your spouse over here, you're earning team bonus cycles on everything that you place, even though they're not your personally sponsored coaches, which is awesome. And then the other benefit is that you get to double dip when you create a second business center, which I'm going to go back to after we cover spouses, okay? Moving on. The next example is a spouse on your strong leg. And I know that some of these examples, I made them both different ways because I don't want you to think that everybody on this call, your strong leg's not necessarily your left leg, and it's not necessarily your right leg. You have to check that by going to that carryover thing in your Team Beachbody online office. So you go to monitor my business, and then under commissions, it'll say carryover volume. I posted a picture of exactly what that looks like, and you'll just scroll over and you'll see it. 1 second, water break. So this is an example of someone whose upline is over here instead of over here. So their strong leg is their left leg in this situation, their weak leg is their right leg. Again, what makes it strong? In this case, it's that their upline is placing coaches below them on one side because this upline only has 2 legs, this leg and this leg. Their only option when enrolling someone new is to sign them on this leg, the right leg, or underneath you. And since they can't place directly below because there's already spots filled, they have to go all the way to the very bottom spot in order to be able to place that coach on their left-hand side. Does that make sense? So with the spouse being placed on a strong leg, I remember when I first signed up, I didn't necessarily think that was the smart way to go. And now I look back and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of benefits to doing that. So here is the difference between the two. With building a spouse on the strong leg, one of their legs is also going to be built for them as far as volume goes. So as you see over here, all these little red dots, this is all coaches being placed from this person's upline. And so volume underneath your spouse is, instead of being on the weak leg where it's kind of like 0 on both sides to start, there's actually, in this example, 3,000 in volume on the spouse's strong leg and 200 in volume on their weak leg. Now, like I said, and same as the other example, your spouse is the emerald in this case. These 2 pinks, that's the personally sponsored coaches that you've given away to your spouse to make them an emerald. But here's the beautiful part about a strong leg placed coach or strong leg placed spouse. Typically when you have to place coaches on your strong leg, you place them all the way at the very bottom. And the sucky part can be that if that coach blows up and becomes this super successful coach, if they're on your strong leg, you don't really benefit from it, most likely, until you catch up on the other side. However, if you had a spouse over there, and instead of placing, when you personally go to sign up a new coach, and get blue, this is your personally sponsored coaches, you sign up a coach and you need to sign them up on your strong leg. Instead of placing them down here, you can place them underneath your spouse's weak leg. And I'll show you guys, I'll make some screenshots to show you how to do this in the Coach Online office. But this is not you giving a coach to your spouse. This is you signing up one of your coaches underneath your spouse's weak leg. And therefore, if that coach starts to make, let's say they made 1,000 in sales, right? This person blows up, like they're an amazing retailer. Now, that 1,000 in volume is not going to waste or sitting in a bank account, right? Being unused because you have not made it up over here. Instead, that 1,000 in volume, your spouse, because they're an emerald, is gonna earn team bonus cycles off of. And so that means $140 that you're not missing out on. Even with your spouse only being an emerald right now, so $14 per cycle, it's $140 in team bonus cycles that your spouse is now going to earn because you placed your personally sponsored coach, yours, not theirs, yours underneath their weak leg. So I have seen coaches be able to build this into thousands of dollars a week. Dara Laporta is one of them that has built a really, really strong leg spouse account. I know that Gabby Hobbs, Scotty Hobbs' wife, super crazy solid, strong leg signed coach. So that's a huge benefit to having a spouse on the strong leg, is that all the coaches that you end up enrolling underneath your strong leg don't go to waste. They end up underneath your spouse's weak leg, and that spouse earns team bonus cycles. Now, here's the only other thing. With a spouse only being an emerald, the most that a spouse can earn as an emerald coach in team bonus per week is $250. So any volume that's created above that, they need to rank advance in order to capitalize off of that. So I believe for Ruby, it's $1,000 max. For Diamond, it's a $2,000 max. And then for every star after that, it's $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, all the way up to $12,000 a week. Okay? So at some point, you're likely going to, if you build this way, you're likely going to have the intent to build your spouse to Diamond, which you're going to want to do anyway. And that's another beautiful benefit of having a coach, a spouse, or somebody that you control underneath your strong leg, is that they become one of those diamonds, and you're not placing tons and tons of coaches on the strong leg because you know you have a solid diamond over there already. You can focus on finding and building this weaker leg to find the diamond for over there. So that's benefit number 2. Let me think if there's one I'm missing. Oh, and one leg built for you. So those are the 3 benefits of a strong leg spouse. All right, this was my situation. Dead even legs, and not having necessarily anyone placing below me. And I remember, I think I said this in the last video, I was super frustrated because I saw people with strong legs building income a lot quicker, and I got super frustrated. I was like, dang, I'm working like 5 times as hard. So anyway, I want to have you rest assured, you are not screwed. You are not screwed. You're only screwed if you tell yourself the story that you're screwed. I really feel like it's an opportunity to take ownership of your business. It is the easiest position to be in to build a 10-star, a 15-star business, which ends up being the money. I'll go through the comments later. Sorry, guys. I can't read the comments and do this at the same time. I'm not brained like that. So you are not screwed. I don't want you to have it in your head that, oh man, I wish I had carryover. I don't have any carryover. Listen, I didn't have any carryover either, and I'm doing A-okay. So you're gonna be fine too. It's an opportunity, like I said, to start from ground zero. All it takes is one Melanie Mitchell. All it takes is one Katie. All it takes is one Marin to pop underneath you. And that could be somebody that you signed up, or it could be somebody that signed up underneath one of your coaches or your coach's coaches. Literally anyone ever placed below you can blow up your business. So don't tell yourself this story of like this limiting belief story that you can't make it happen, because that's not true. I know Melanie was placed on a weak leg that didn't have any coaches placed below it. I was placed on a weak leg. I want to say we're probably one of the top 2 or 3 earners in the entire company. So it can be done. Now, here are the benefits. You create a strong leg and stack the volume underneath your spouse after Success Club 5 or 10. So for instance here, this is completely even, right? I'm gonna say this is your spouse, right? I'm making my spouse an emerald. These are the personally sponsored coaches. And then after I hit Success Club 10, I'm now placing all the rest of the orders underneath my spouse. And I'm also placing both personally sponsored coaches and giving away coaches to him to build him to diamond. So I'm starting to build this leg over here and building up volume, right? Inevitably, what happens is that starts to build you up a strong leg where you can benefit on maximizing the volume that you have. And then also, you have a diamond that you can control just like the other ones, and you also have a second business center that you can double dip. Let's go into second business centers because this could be fun. All right, I'm gonna stick with even legs here. So pretend I have now built my spouse to diamond, and I built this person to diamond. I've held for 6 weeks. I'm now 2-star diamond. I get to sign up a second business center. What does that mean? Essentially, it's like signing up yourself under yourself. You pretend you are now a clone and you are enrolling a brand new coach, and that coach just happens to be you. And if you're a 2-star diamond, guess what? You're a rock star, and you know you're a rock star, so you can pick the best possible placement. Like, I know hindsight can be 20/20. Like, sometimes I've signed a coach and they told me they weren't gonna do much, and then they kill it, and you're like, I wish I would have known you would be a rock star. This is your one opportunity when you have a second business center. You know that person's gonna be a rock star. So you get to really be strategic about where you place them in your downline. Now, let's say I've built this up. This is my strong leg now because I've built my spouse. He's doing awesome. This is my weak leg. I get to choose where I place this person. For me, I chose to place my second business center underneath my spouse's weak leg because all the volume that I create sales-wise is going to be run through this second business center now. Everything with a second business center, when you, let's say you hit Success Club, you're getting the points underneath your second business center, it all rolls up to your first. So if I'm getting 20 Success Club points through my own personally, my second business center, my first business center shows as having 20 Success Club points. So you don't have to worry necessarily about putting orders through both. All you have to do to maintain this first business center is to have 200 in volume every 5 weeks underneath it. So typically it'll be like orders that I have for Performance Line and Shakeology and residual customers that have been ordering for a while. And anytime I see any of my business centers getting low, I just take my next customer order and I pop it through my first to make sure that I typically like to say about 400 or 500 because I don't even like to mess with it or think about it. And leads and all that all stay in the first business center, so you don't have to worry typically about the volume over there. But let's say you're getting 20 Success Club points, you're cranking in volume because, like we said, you're a rock star. All of that volume is going to earn your spouse, who's a diamond, team bonus cycles. And then also, it's going to benefit you and earn you team bonus cycles as well, because the volume's not only going to count for your spouse, but it's going to count for you. So now you're triple dipping. You're getting the commission, you're getting a team bonus cycle under your spouse, you're getting a team bonus cycle under your first business center. Like, it starts to crank. And all of the coaches, I'm gonna put you, remember you're orange, so this is you, I'm signing up. Second biz. Okay. All of the coaches that you enroll underneath your second business center as you start to build it, all of that volume then rolls up, and you earn team bonus cycles in your second business center. You earn team bonus cycles from the volume in your spouse's account. You earn team bonus cycles in your first account, like 1, 2, 3 plus commission. Can you see how that can start to like compound very quickly? It starts to get crazy really quick. I know a few of you in here, once you signed up a second business center that were my personally sponsored coach, I was so excited because I knew the frustrations that can be volume and having to rely on team and not knowing when they're gonna really kick off their business. And I saw the difference it made once they had control of how many people are ending up in that second business center, how much volume is being produced by themselves to be able to benefit from that, all of the volume, not just the volume over Success Club 10, all of it. So it really starts to compound quickly. Remember, this was the even leg one. It's crazy. And then when this one, the second business center, once that goes 2-star diamond, holds for 6 weeks, you can open a third business center and you can stack that. You can place that on the second business center's weak leg. And then all of a sudden you're getting team bonus cycles here, 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 here. It's like a pinball machine. It's like a pinball machine, and then everything's dinging because it's now starting to compound on each other and they're all benefiting from the volume that your efforts are creating. It is part of this business that I absolutely love. It's the residual part of this business. It changes the game, okay? So I'm gonna go back to someone with a strong leg spouse and tell you what I would think about doing if I were you signing up a second business center. So for me personally, if I were to have this situation where I had my spouse on my strong leg, it would depend on how strong my strong leg was. If it's like 70,000 in volume underneath my husband, and I know that my husband's, I'm not gonna let him cap. I'm gonna build him to 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star. I would maybe consider placing my second business center under their weak leg. But more than likely, what I'm probably going to suggest you do is place your second business center over on your weak leg, because there's gonna be control over here and control over here. I'm all about control. In this business and in life, I wanna be in control of my destiny. And with this business, if I can have two people that I fully control and can build strategically, I feel in most cases it's best to have one of me over here and one of me over here. And so I can stack this side. I'm earning team bonus cycles off of all the volume I have over here. My husband or my spouse or whoever is over here, and I'm capitalizing on anything I can over this side, and it starts to compound from there. Same thing happens as I just explained in the last page. Everything that you build underneath that second business center, all the coaches you sign up, all the volume you produce, that's you earning team bonus cycles underneath your first account and your second. And then when you sign up a third, you get to be strategic again, and you'll be able to look at your downline, you'll be able to assess, okay, is it better for me to place that third business center underneath my second's weak leg or my husband's weak leg? And you'll know at the time. You'll be further along in the understanding of all this. But I just wanted to be able to show you the difference that would make. And then lastly, spouse on your weak leg, 100% you're gonna place your second business center under your spouse's weak leg. So if your spouse or parent or whoever is underneath your weak leg, you're going to place your second business center here, and you're going to start to build, because all of that volume, again, will benefit your spouse and then will benefit you. It's a double dip. So does that all make sense? I know there's a ton of comments. I saw it and I'm so excited to go through it. I don't want to try and answer everything now. I guess I could peek through and see what I see. But if you have any specific questions, let me know. And then I'll take screenshots of these and post them in the group as well. And also show you exactly how in the online office, how you can go underneath, let's say a spouse's account, and move the placement that you have, preferred placement, to be underneath their weak leg, so that you can do that. Yes. So many of you guys are leaving really good points. And then also who I give my spouse. I am super stingy. I think Melanie was as well. Like, my spouse is still barely hanging on to diamond. Some people really are super graceful about giving them away. It's hard for me to give people away to him. So I gave like a lot of discount coaches, and I'm fully aware that I'll have to replace those people after a little while. But I would get really sad when I placed somebody under him that was like a super success club owner, because I thought about all the elite points, and I had different goals of like top 10 and things back then. So it really depends on your goals. But for me personally, the people that I tended to give to my spouse were either other family members or people that I knew were just going to be hobby coaches in this, or discount coaches. Haley, get there as fast as you can. Okay. So with a parent's account, Lacey, it really just depends. If you want it, if they're going to keep the income and it's a goal of yours to help your parent, then yes. Or if they're willing to like split the income with you or whatever, you guys can come up with whatever arrangement works for you. For me personally, it was one of my goals to help my dad out. And so when I placed him and started placing people underneath him, he just kind of gets a weekly check, and it's, instead of me just handing over money, it's my way of giving back without having it to be weird. My brother's the same way. My brother's account makes, he's a 1-star, so 3,000, he caps out at $3,000 a week now. And he has been for years and years. And they keep themselves, it's their responsibility to keep themselves at their rank. I don't necessarily help with that. All I did was agree once they hit diamond, that I would start to place people underneath their weak leg to help them out. But I do feel with family, like you do have to talk it out and let them understand what the stipulations are going to be, because you don't, this happened to me too, I have a second brother, and started placing coaches underneath his weak leg, and then he forgot to change out his credit card, his account got canceled, and those people got trapped under a dead leg. So there's two examples of brothers, you know, one super responsible, did all the right stuff, is now really benefiting, the other one didn't. And then I was really frustrated that these coaches, and a couple of them were diamond coaches, got stuck on a weak leg, so or a dead leg. So if you don't have a special, yes, control the controllable. So spouse in my week, after I hit Success Club 10, do you suggest placing my discount coaches, still my PS, under his week? I probably would, yeah. What about putting them in first? Okay, first business center versus second business center, and when you're gonna place people where. When it comes to that, like, I go for income. So if I am close to like 5-star qualification, I'm gonna place people in my first to get to that 5-star, because I want the quarterly bonus, which if you don't know about those, it ranges everywhere from 2-star bonus is like $800-ish, depends each quarter. This is totally just basing it off of years past. 800 is usually the around about 2-star. 5-star bonus is typically between $2,000 and $3,000 a quarter. And 10-star ranges anywhere from like $12,000 all the way up to $20,000 per quarter. 15-star bonus ranges anywhere from typically $40,000, and last year was up to $70,000 a quarter. I mean, it's crazy. So when people say that, oh, I just build for volume, I'm like, yeah, so do I. I build for income. I don't just build for volume. I build for income all around. So I'm constantly assessing what my goals are, and then how to best get myself there. Now for me, the more me, the merrier. So if I see myself, like let's say underneath my second business center, I see somebody kind of inching their way to diamond, I'm gonna probably become more intentional about placing on that opposite leg to hopefully get another diamond to where it goes 2-star and I can get a third business center. Does that make sense? So I'm always kind of assessing my entire downline and my goals and saying, okay, what's gonna bring the most income to my family? And I'm readjusting. Right now, I'm placing like back in my first business center, because my first business center needs some padding. It's been years and years, and the good thing about a first business center, you can place wherever you want all the way through your downline and really maximize the volume. So, and so I want to put them in my first to rank advanced, but also need volume in my second. So the cool thing is about that, you can place people underneath your second, but sponsor them by your first. So you choose who sponsors the coach, but you also can choose where they're placed, because the nice thing about Beachbody, and they've been so generous to do this for us, is let's say your second's over here. You want to sign up a coach, but you want them to be sponsored by your first business center, but placed underneath your second, underneath the second's weak leg, which is here. You can do that. All you have to do is go into your graphical genealogy, where you can change placement and place it to where it's underneath the coach right here. So I'll show you how to do that as well. But that's the awesome thing about it, is you can be doing this, but having them sponsored by the first business center. And so you can benefit from the volume, you can benefit from that coach being underneath your first to get it to the next rank. I mean, seriously, it's insane how blessed we are. If you have a lot of rollover on one leg, but the other side is bringing more volume weekly, is that considered your strong leg? So if you have more volume on one side, but the other one's starting to come up behind it, that's a good thing. That's like a really good thing. That means you're on your way to becoming probably even legs, which means you'll maximize the amount of team bonus cycles. So if your legs get even, that's not a bad thing. Because what Beachbody will do, let's say it's like 1,000 on each side, it'll take 200 from this side, 100 from this side. And then it'll take 200 from this side and 100 from this side. and 200 from this side and 100 from the, until it runs out. It'll keep bouncing back and forth. It'll go back and forth on which one's strong, which one's weak, to get you the most bonus cycles as possible. So you'll see as it starts to make that shift that it'll probably get even for a little while, and then that leg that used to be your weak could become your strong, because there's somebody over there that's crushing it, obviously. So just to clarify, Alex is on my strong leg, so after I hit Success Club 10, start adding coaches under his weak leg. Going into my back office, this is a preferred placement, clicking where I left. So if you're signing up a coach, if you're signing them up as personally sponsored coaches of your spouse, they actually need to sign up with your spouse's coach ID link. Or if you're gonna do a share cart, you need to sign into your spouse's account and do the share cart through his account in order for them to be personally sponsored. If you're just talking about personally sponsored coaches placed underneath him, then yes, you just go into your Coach Online Office Graphical Genealogy and set the preferred placement before they enroll. And then you also obviously always have the 5 days that you can change placement through that form to be able to get it adjusted if it's not done correctly. Correct. Okay, that's a really long one. I'm gonna get back to that one on the thing. Okay, I want to try to keep this kind of short. It's long already. Too bad. But anyway, I hope that this helped to give you like the visual of what this can be. I know for some of you that are like newer diamonds, this was still like, what? Listen, that's the beautiful thing about videos. You can go back and listen to it. Also, I'm going to be posting these examples, and you don't need to know all this right from the get-go. All you need to know is that this opportunity is here. There's like just so many insane ways to grow this business, and this is all in your control. Like this is all you being able to enhance your income, not having to wait for other people to get it. All you have to be doing is the activities that, you know, we've been talking about in this group the entire time. So anyway, have an amazing Easter weekend. We are giving you the complete weekend off. Enjoy, be present with your families. If you have not already, today is the very final day to do your live Insta Story sneak peek. So get on that. We are giving away 2 $50 gift cards. I will go back and look through the questions I wasn't able to get to, but I am so excited. This group has been so phenomenal. Thank you so much for your active engagement in it, and I'm really looking forward to next week. We've got some awesome speakers lined up. Thank you all so much for your time. Talk to you soon.